October 12th, 1985. Dug carcass in alley this morning. Tired tread on burst stomach. This city is afraid of me. I've seen its true face. The streets are extended gutters, and the gutters are full of blood. And when the drains finally scab over, all the vermin will drown. The accumulated filth of all their sex and murder will foam up about their waists, and all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us!" And I'll look down and whisper, "No." They had a choice, all of them. They could have followed in the footsteps of good men like my father or President Truman, decent men who believed in a day's work for a day's pay. Instead, they followed in the droppings of lechers and communists, and didn't realize that the trail led over to a precipice until it was too late. Don't tell me they didn't have a choice. Now the whole world stands on the brink, staring down into bloody hell. All those liberals and intellectuals and smooth talkers. And all of a sudden, nobody can think of anything to say. October 13th, 1985. Slept all day, awoken at 4:37. Landlady complaining about smell. She has 5 children by 5 different fathers. Soon it will be dark. Beneath me, this awful city. It screams like an abattoir full of retarded children. New York. On Friday night, a comedian died in New York. Somebody knows why. Down there, somebody knows. The dusk reeks of fornication and bad consciences. I believe I shall take my exercise. First visit of evening fruitless. Nobody knew anything. Feels slightly depressed. This city is dying of rabies. Is the best I can do to wipe random flecks of foam from its lips. Never despair. Never surrender. I leave the human cockroaches to discuss their heroin and child pornography. I have business elsewhere with a better class of person. 8:30 p.m. Meeting with Vite left a bad taste in mouth. He is pampered and decadent, betraying even his shallow, liberal affectations. Possibly homosexual? Must remember to investigate further. Dryberg as bad. A flabby failure who sits whimpering in his basement. Why are so few of us left active, healthy, and without personality disorders? The first night owl runs an auto repair shop. The first silk specter is a bloated aging whore, dying in a Californian rest resort. Captain Metropolis was decapitated in a car crash back in '74. Mothman's in an asylum up in Maine. The silhouette retired in disgrace, murdered 6 weeks later by a minor adversary seeking revenge. Dollar Bill got shot. Hooded Justice went missing in '55. The comedian is dead. Only 2 names remaining on my list. Both share private quarters at Rockefeller Military Research Center. I shall go to them. I shall go and tell the indestructible man that someone plans to murder him. 11:30 p.m. On a Friday night, a comedian died in New York. Someone threw him out a window, and when he hit the sidewalk, his head was driven up to his stomach. Nobody cares. Nobody cares but me. Are they right? Is it futile? Soon there will be war. Millions will burn. Millions will perish in sickness and misery. Why does one death matter against so many? Because there is good, and there is evil, and evil must be punished. Even in the face of Armageddon, I shall not compromise in this. But there are so many deserving of retribution, and there is so little time. October 16th, 1985. 42nd Street. Women's breasts draped across every billboard, every display, littering the sidewalk, was offered Swedish love and French love, but not American love. American love, like Coke in green glass bottles, they don't make it anymore. Thought about Moloch's story on way to cemetery. Could all be lies. Could all be part of a revenge scheme planned during his decade behind bars. But if true, then what? Puzzling reference to an island, also to Dr. Manhattan. Might he be at risk in some way? So many questions. Never mind. Answers soon. Nothing is insoluble. Nothing is hopeless. Not while there's life. In the cemetery, all the white crosses stood in rows, neat chalk marks on a giant scoreboard. Paid last respects quietly, without fuss. Edward Morgan Blake, born 1924, 45 years a comedian, died 1985, buried in the rain. Is that what happens to us? A life of conflict with no time for friends, so when it's done, only our enemies leave roses. Violent lives ending violently. We never die in bed. Not allowed. Something in our personalities, perhaps. Some animal urge. Unimportant. We do what we have to do. Others bury their heads between the swollen teats of indulgence and gratification, piglets squirming beneath a sow for shelter. But there is no shelter. And the future is bearing down like an express train. Blake understood. Treated it like a joke, but he understood. He saw the cracks in society. Saw the little men in masks trying to hold it together. He saw the true face of the 20th century and chose to become a reflection of it, a parody of it. No one else saw the joke. That's why he was lonely. Heard joke once. Man goes into doctor, says he's depressed, says life seems harsh and cruel. Doctor says, treatment is simple. Great clown Pagliacci is in town tonight. Go and see him. That should pick you up. Man bursts into tears, says, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. Good joke. Everybody laugh. Roll on snare drum. Curtains.